Have you ever felt completely alone, even when surrounded by people? Maybe you're at a family gathering, or with friends, or even in a busy place with hundreds of people around you. But inside, there's this feeling, this emptiness, this loneliness that you can't quite explain. You look around and everyone seems connected. Everyone seems to belong somewhere. But you feel like you're watching life through a window. Like there's this invisible wall between you and everyone else. And the worst part, you can't understand why. You have people in your life, you're not physically alone, so why does your heart feel so empty? Maybe you've tried to fill that emptiness. Maybe you've tried staying busier, making more friends, going out more. Maybe you've tried buying things, achieving goals, staying distracted with entertainment. And for a moment it helps. But then the feeling comes back.
That quiet loneliness in your chest that won't go away. If you've ever felt this way, I want you to know something important. You're not broken. You're not weird. You're not the only one who feels like this. Actually, someone understood exactly what you're going through. His name was Augustine. He lived 1600 years ago, and he spent most of his life feeling the same emptiness you feel now. But Augustine made a discovery, a beautiful discovery, about why we feel this way, about what our hearts are really searching for, and this discovery changed his entire life. In this video, I want to share Augustine's answer with you. Not in complicated theology language, not in academic terms, but in simple words, the way a friend would explain it over coffee. Because what Augustine discovered isn't just beautiful, it's deeply practical. It can help you understand that loneliness you've been carrying. And it can show you where to find the peace your heart is actually looking for. Let's start with Augustine's own story, because before he found the answer, he was searching just like you. Augustine was born in North Africa in the year 354. His mother was a Christian woman named Monica. His father wasn't religious, and Augustine grew up kind of in between those two worlds. From a young age, Augustine was brilliant. He was the kind of person who could understand anything. Philosophy, rhetoric, literature. He had this incredible mind that everyone noticed. But he also had this restlessness inside, this feeling that something was missing, this hunger for something he couldn't name. When Augustine became a young man, he went looking for what would fill that emptiness, and he tried everything. First, he threw himself into pleasure. He had relationships, parties, experiences. He wanted to see if intense pleasure would satisfy that hunger in his heart. But it didn't. The emptiness always came back. Then he tried success. Augustine became a famous teacher of rhetoric. He was brilliant at it. People respected him. He was making money, gaining status, building a career. Surely this would make him happy. But it didn't. Even at the height of his success, he felt hollow inside. Then Augustine tried philosophy. He joined different philosophical schools. He studied with masters. He read everything he could find. He thought maybe intellectual understanding would fill that void. But it didn't. Even when his mind was full of knowledge, his heart still felt empty. Then he tried relationships. He thought maybe if he found the right person, that person would complete him, fill that hole in his heart. But even in his closest relationships, that loneliness remained. Do you see what's happening? Augustine is doing exactly what we do. He's running from one thing to another, trying to fill that emptiness, thinking the next thing will be the one that finally satisfies. For years, Augustine lived like this, searching, trying, failing, searching again, getting more and more frustrated, wondering why nothing worked, why nothing was enough. His mother, Monica, never stopped praying for him. She could see his restlessness. She could see him searching in all the wrong places, and she prayed that he would find what he was really looking for. Augustine later wrote about this time in his life. He wrote about the exhaustion of constantly searching, the disappointment of finding that nothing satisfied, the confusion of having everything but feeling empty.
And then something happened. Augustine had an experience that changed everything.
He didn't just learn a new philosophy. He didn't just adopt a new set of beliefs. He discovered something about himself, about his heart, about what it was really searching for. And when he made this discovery, everything fell into place. Suddenly, the emptiness made sense. Suddenly, he understood why nothing else had worked. Suddenly, he knew where to find the peace he'd been chasing his whole life. What Augustine discovered became one of the most famous insights in Christian history. It's been helping people for 1,600 years, and it can help you understand your own loneliness today. Let me explain what he found. After years of searching, Augustine finally became a Christian. And when he did, he wrote a prayer that became famous around the world. He wrote, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you."
Let me explain what this means in simple words. Augustine discovered that the human heart is designed for a specific purpose. It's made to be connected to God. It's created to be in relationship with something infinite, eternal, and perfect. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a key. This key is beautifully made. It's unique. It has a specific shape. But if you don't know what lock it's meant to open, that key feels useless. You can try it in every door you find, but until you find the right lock, the key doesn't fulfill its purpose. Your heart is like that key. It's designed for a specific connection. It's made to fit with God. And until it finds that connection, nothing else quite works. Nothing else quite fits. This is why you can have friends and still feel lonely. Why you can be successful and still feel empty. Why you can try pleasure, achievement, knowledge, relationships, and still have that restlessness inside. It's not that those things are bad. They're good things. But they're not the thing your heart is actually designed for. They're not infinite enough, eternal enough, perfect enough to satisfy a heart that was made for God. Augustine realized this is why he had been so restless. His heart was searching for God, but he kept trying to satisfy it with everything except God. It's like being thirsty and trying to quench that thirst with food. The food might be delicious, but it won't fix the thirst, because food isn't what thirst needs. Your loneliness is like that thirst. It's your heart telling you it needs something, and what it needs is connection with God. Nothing else is big enough to fill that space. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I have other relationships.
I have family, friends. Aren't those enough? Here's what Augustine understood. Human relationships are beautiful. They're important. God made us for community. But human relationships can't be everything for us because humans are limited. Humans can fail us. Humans can leave. Humans can't be with us every moment. Humans can't know us completely. Humans can't love us perfectly. When we try to make human relationships fill that God-shaped space in our hearts, we put an impossible weight on those relationships. We expect them to do something they were never designed to do, and then we feel disappointed when they can't. But when we let God fill that deepest space in our hearts, something beautiful happens. We stop putting that impossible weight on our human relationships. We can love people freely, without needing them to complete us.
We can enjoy relationships without demanding they solve our loneliness. This is what Augustine discovered, and it changed everything for him. He stopped searching in all the wrong places. He stopped expecting worldly success to satisfy his soul. He stopped trying to fill an infinite space with finite things. And when he finally turned to God, he found the peace he'd been searching for his whole life. Not because his life became perfect, not because all his problems disappeared, but because his heart finally found its home. Let me explain what this means for you. Now, you might be thinking, Augustine lived 1,600 years ago. Things were different then. How does this apply to my loneliness today? That's a great question. And I want to show you how Augustine's insight is even more relevant now than it was in his time. See, in Augustine's day, life was slower.
People lived in close communities. They knew their neighbors. They had fewer distractions. But they still felt that restlessness. They still felt that emptiness. Now imagine today. We live in the most connected time in human history. We have phones that let us talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. We have social media where we can see what thousands of people are doing. We have entertainment available 24 hours a day. We can fill every moment with noise, activity, connection. And yet, studies show that loneliness is worse now than ever before. More people report feeling isolated. More people report feeling like they don't really belong anywhere. More people report having that deep emptiness inside, even while surrounded by constant connection. Why is this happening? Because we're trying to fill that God-shaped space with more and more temporary things.
We're trying to solve spiritual thirst with an endless stream of worldly drinks, and it's not working. We scroll through social media, seeing everyone's highlight reels, and feel more alone. We stay busy with endless activities and feel exhausted but empty. We accumulate experiences, achievements, possessions, and still feel that something is missing. Modern life gives us a million ways to distract ourselves from that restless heart, but distraction isn't the same as satisfaction. Noise isn't the same as peace. Connection to a screen isn't the same as connection to something eternal. Augustine would look at our world and say, "See, I told you, your hearts are restless, and they'll stay restless until they find their rest in God." Here's the thing, that loneliness you feel isn't a problem to solve with more social connection. It's not a deficiency you fix with more activities.
It's not a disorder you treat with more entertainment. That loneliness is actually your heart speaking to you. It's telling you that you were made for something more, something deeper, something eternal. It's like a homesickness. Have you ever been away from home for a long time? You might be in a beautiful place. You might be having great experiences, but there's still that pull, that longing to go home, that feeling that no matter how good things are where you are, you don't fully belong there. Your heart feels that way about God, even when life is good, even when you have blessings, even when you have people around you. There's still that pull, that longing for home, that sense that you don't fully belong in this world. And you don't, not completely, because your heart was made for something beyond this world. It was made for eternity. It was made for perfect love.
It was made for God. This doesn't mean you should reject the good things in this life. It doesn't mean relationships and work and joy don't matter. They do matter. They're gifts. But they're not the ultimate thing. They're not home. They're beautiful stops along the journey, but they're not the destination. When you understand this, your loneliness starts to make sense. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that something is right with you. Your heart knows it's made for more, and it won't stop longing until it finds that more. So what do you do with this? How do you respond to this longing? Let me tell you what your heart is actually searching for. Not in theological language, but in simple, real terms. Your heart is looking for a love that never fails. A love that knows everything about you and still chooses you. A love that will never leave. A love that sees you completely and loves you perfectly. Your heart is looking for a presence that's always with you. Not just sometimes, not just when it's convenient, but always, in every moment, in every joy and every pain. Your heart is looking for a purpose that's bigger than you, something that gives meaning to your struggles, something that makes your life matter, something that lasts beyond your years on this earth. Your heart is looking for peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, peace that stays even when life is hard, peace that runs deeper than your emotions,
peace that holds you when everything else is falling apart. Your heart is looking for truth that makes sense of everything, answers to the big questions, meaning in the confusion, understanding in the mystery. Now here's what's beautiful. Everything your heart is looking for exists. It's not a fantasy.
It's not wishful thinking. It's real. God is that love that never fails. He knows everything about you, every thought, every mistake, every secret shame, and He loves you completely. Not because you've earned it, but because He made you and He delights in you. God is that presence that's always with you. You're never alone, ever. Not in your happiest moments, not in your darkest nights. He's there. He sees you. He's with you. God is that purpose bigger than you. Your life matters because you're part of His story. Everything you go through, even the hard things, can have meaning. Your life has value that lasts forever. God is that peace beyond circumstances. When you know Him, you can have peace even in storms. Not because the storms stop, but because you know who holds you in the storm. God is that truth that makes sense of everything, the answers you've been looking for, the meaning you've been seeking, the understanding that brings it all together. This is what Augustine discovered. This is what his heart had been restless for. This is what finally satisfied that deep longing inside him. And this is what your heart is restless for too. Not for a religious system, not for rules and rituals, not for Sunday morning performances, but for actual, real, living connection with the God who made you and loves you. See, when you connect with God, something happens to that loneliness. It doesn't magically disappear. You'll still have moments of feeling alone. You'll still have hard days. But that deep, existential loneliness, that emptiness of the core of your being, that starts to heal. Because you realize you're not alone. You're known. You're loved. You're held. You belong to someone who will never leave you. And this changes how you experience everything else.
Your human relationships become richer because you're not desperately needing them to complete you. Your work becomes more meaningful because it's part of something bigger. Your struggles become bearable because they're not meaningless. Your joys become deeper because you have someone to share them with who truly understands. This is what it means for your heart to find its rest in God. This is what Augustine was talking about. And this is available to you right now, today, wherever you are, whatever you've done, however long you've been searching. Your heart can find its home. Let me show you how. So, how do you actually do this? How do you let God fill that empty space in your heart? I want to give you some simple, practical steps, not religious formulas, not complicated theology, just real, honest ways to begin this connection.
First, start by being honest with God about your loneliness. You don't need fancy prayers. You don't need perfect words. Just talk to Him like you talk to someone who loves you. Tell Him you feel empty. Tell Him you've been searching. Tell Him you're tired of that restlessness. God already knows what you're feeling, but there's something powerful about being honest, about admitting that you need Him, about stopping the pretense that you can fill this space on your own. You might say something like, God, I feel so alone. I've tried to fix this myself, and I can't. I think my heart is looking for you. Help me find you. That's enough. That's a beautiful start. Second, create quiet space to sense His presence. Our world is so noisy. We're constantly distracted. Our minds are always racing. And it's hard to sense God's presence when we never stop moving. Try this. Find 5 minutes of quiet. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just sit in silence and pay attention to your heart. Notice that longing inside you. Don't run from it. Don't distract yourself from it. Just feel it. And then, in that feeling, imagine God is there with you, not far away, not disappointed in you, but right there, loving you, seeing you, caring about that loneliness you feel. You might not feel anything dramatic at first. That's okay. You're learning to pay attention. You're learning to sense a presence that's always been there, but that you've been too busy to notice. Third, read how Jesus treated lonely, searching people. If you want to know what God is like, look at Jesus. Read the gospel stories. See how he treated people who felt alone, rejected, lost. He ate with people society rejected. He talked to people others avoided. He welcomed people who felt unworthy.
He met people exactly where they were. When you read these stories, let them show you how God sees you, not with judgment, not with disappointment, but with love, with welcome, with open arms. Fourth, start bringing God into your daily moments. You don't need to wait for special religious times. You can talk to God anywhere, while you're driving, while you're making coffee, while you're walking, while you're going to sleep. Just acknowledge he's there. Share your thoughts with him. Thank him for small things. Ask him to help you with hard things. Let him be part of your actual, real life. The more you practice his presence, the less alone you feel. Not because your circumstances change, but because you're aware that you're never actually alone. Fifth, be patient with yourself. Learning to recognize God's presence takes time. Your heart has spent years trying to fill itself with other things. It takes time to learn a new way. It takes time to trust. It takes time to feel that peace. Don't give up if you don't feel different immediately. Keep showing up. Keep being honest. Keep creating space. Keep inviting God in. Augustine didn't find peace overnight. It was a journey. And your journey will take time too. But every step is worth it. Here's what I want you to understand. God isn't waiting for you to become good enough to approach him. He's not keeping his distance until you get your life together. He's already here. He's already loving you. He's already inviting you to come home. All he's waiting for is for you to turn toward him, to open your heart, to let him in. Your restless heart can find its rest today, right now, in this moment. You just have to let him love you.
I want to tell you what actually changes when your heart finds its rest in God. Because this isn't just a nice idea. This is practical. This is real. This changes how you live every single day. First, you stop feeling desperate in your relationships. When God fills that deepest space in your heart, you don't need people to complete you anymore. You can love them freely. You can enjoy them without clinging to them. You can let them be human without being devastated when they fail you. This actually makes your relationships better because you're not putting impossible pressure on them. You're not demanding they solve your loneliness. You're not using them to fill a space only God can fill. You can have healthy friendships because you're not desperately needy. You can have healthy family relationships because you're not looking to them to fix you.
You can love people as they are, not for what they can do for you. Second, you stop chasing things that can't satisfy you. When you know God loves you, you don't need to prove your worth through success. When you know God is with you, you don't need to fill every moment with distraction. When you know God gives your life meaning, you don't need to achieve everything to matter. This doesn't mean you become lazy. It means you stop being driven by that desperate need to fill the emptiness. You can work because work is good, not because work will save you. You can enjoy things because they're gifts, not because they're gods. You're free from that exhausting chase, free from that constant hunger that nothing satisfies, free to actually enjoy life instead of desperately grasping at it. Third, you can face hard times without falling apart. Life will still have pain. You'll still face loss. You'll still go through difficult seasons. But when you know God is with you, those times don't destroy you. You have an anchor, a foundation,
a presence that holds you when everything else is shaking. You're not facing the hard times alone. You're not wondering if there's any meaning in the pain. You can be honest about the difficulty. You can grieve. You can hurt. But underneath all of that, there's a peace, a knowing that you're held, that this isn't the end of the story, that even this can be part of something bigger. Fourth, you can be alone without being lonely. This is one of the most beautiful changes. When God fills that space in your heart, you can actually enjoy solitude. Quiet doesn't feel threatening. Being by yourself doesn't feel like abandonment, because you're never actually by yourself. God is there, and His presence is real. It's not imaginary.
It's not just a comforting thought. It's actual, real presence. You can have moments of silence and feel peace instead of panic. You can spend time alone and feel connected instead of isolated. You can be quiet with your thoughts because someone is there with you in the quiet. Fifth, you can give to others from overflow instead of emptiness. When you're trying to fill your own emptiness, you don't have much to give others. You're constantly taking, seeking, needing. But when God fills you, something beautiful happens. You have something to give. You can be kind because you've been shown kindness. You can be patient because you've been given patience. You can love because you've been loved. You're not giving from your limited reserves. You're giving from God's unlimited supply. This is what Augustine experienced. This is what changed for him. And this is what can change for you.
Your heart can find its rest. And when it does, everything else starts to fall into place. Let me answer some questions you might be having right now, because I want this to be clear. I want this to be real for you. Question 1. Does this mean I should just focus on God and not care about relationships with people? No, absolutely not. God created you for community. He made you to love and be loved by other people. Human relationships are beautiful and important. What this means is that God should be the foundation, the primary relationship, the one that fills that deepest space. And from that foundation, you can have healthy relationships with people. Think of it like this. If your house has a cracked foundation, it doesn't matter how beautiful the rooms are. The whole structure is unstable. But if you fix the foundation, then you can build beautiful rooms on top of it.
God is the foundation. Human relationships are the beautiful rooms. You need both, but they work best in the right order. Question 2. What if I don't feel anything when I pray or try to connect with God? That's completely normal. Feelings come and go. Connection with God isn't primarily about feeling. It's about trust. It's about choosing to believe He's there, even when you don't feel His presence strongly. Augustine didn't always feel overwhelmed with divine emotion. Sometimes his prayer life was quiet. Sometimes it felt dry. But he kept showing up. He kept trusting. He kept believing God was there. Your feelings will catch up eventually, but don't wait for feelings to prove God is real. Choose to trust. Choose to keep showing up. The relationship will deepen over time. Question 3. I've tried religion before and it didn't help. How is this different? This isn't about religion. It's about relationship. Religion can be rules, rituals, systems, and those things can feel empty if they're not connected to actual relationship with God. What Augustine discovered wasn't a religious system. It was a personal connection with a God who loves him. That's different from just going through religious motions. You can have all the religion in the world and still feel empty. But when you have actual connection with God, when you experience His real presence and love, that's what fills the emptiness. Don't confuse dead religion with living relationship. They're not the same thing. Question 4. What if I've done things that make me unworthy of God's love? Listen carefully. There is nothing you can do that makes you unworthy of God's love. Nothing. God doesn't love you because you're good. He loves you because He made you, because you're His. Augustine lived a pretty wild life before he found God.
He did things he wasn't proud of. He made choices he regretted. And when he finally turned to God, do you know what he found? Complete acceptance, total forgiveness, unconditional love. Your past doesn't disqualify you. Your mistakes don't make you unlovable. God knows everything about you, and he still wants you. He's still calling you home. Question 5. How long does it take to find this peace? It's different for everyone. Some people experience immediate change. Others find it's a gradual process. What matters isn't the speed. What matters is the direction. If you start turning toward God today, you're heading in the right direction. Every day you practice his presence, you're learning. Every time you're honest with him about your loneliness, you're opening your heart. Trust the process. Be patient with yourself.
God isn't in a hurry. He's just happy you're coming home. The peace will come. The rest will come. Your heart will find what it's looking for. Just keep seeking. Keep trusting. Keep opening your heart. So here we are. We started with that feeling you know so well. That loneliness even when surrounded by people. That emptiness you can't quite explain. That restlessness in your heart that won't go away. And now you know what Augustine discovered. Your heart isn't broken. It's not defective. It's not asking for something impossible. Your heart is simply made for God, and it's restless until it finds its rest in him. This is the most hopeful truth I can share with you. Your loneliness has an answer. Your emptiness has a solution. Your restless heart has a home. You don't have to keep searching in places that can't satisfy you.
You don't have to keep running from one thing to another, hoping the next thing will finally be enough. You don't have to carry that heaviness anymore. God is here, right now. He sees you. He knows you. He loves you. And he's inviting you to come home. It doesn't matter how long you've been searching. It doesn't matter what you've tried. It doesn't matter how many times you felt disappointed. Your heart can still find its rest. Start today. Start now. Talk to God about your loneliness. Create space to sense his presence. Let him show you his love. Open your heart to the one who made it. You were made for this connection. You were made for this love. You were made for this peace. And it's available to you. Not someday. Not when you're good enough. Not when you figure everything out. Right now. Today. This moment. Augustine found it 1,600 years ago.
Millions of people have found it since then, and you can find it too. Your restless heart can finally rest. Your lonely heart can finally come home. All you have to do is turn toward the one who's been waiting for you all along. If this video helped you understand your loneliness in a new way, please subscribe to the channel. We share more insights like this about faith, meaning, and finding peace. And if you're feeling that restlessness right now, if your heart is longing for something more, I encourage you, don't ignore it. Don't distract yourself from it. Let that longing lead you to God. Your heart knows where it belongs. It's time to let it go home.